Hi, welcome to this lecture 1 of the course Big Data in E-commerce. Every e-commerce companies are in need to fight battles in competitive and the fast-paced environment each day. In order to capitalize on the new opportunities which are available outside and also to overcome the various barriers they need to cross. So some example of the opportunities that we capitalized are to increase their revenue, market presence, the brand value, to maintain the customer base and to grow the customer base and so on. The various barriers which are to be overcome by them, some examples are one is revenue leakage, maintaining the customer satisfaction, retaining the customer share and so on. So for each of these barriers which I have mentioned here, I have an example. Revenue leakage, an example would be abandoned shopping cart. A customer entering into the website, he likes a product, he adds it to the shopping cart, but he abandons it for some reason. Next is deterioration in the customer loyalty and faith, that is maintaining the customer satisfaction. That is one of the very hardest thing that is need to be tackled by these e-commerce companies. An example would be a Flipkart, which is an Indian top e-commerce company which is doing really well and which is maintaining the customer satisfaction really well, but it lost its customer faith and customer loyalty on a particular day called as the Big Million Day Sale in 2014, and it ended up with a lot of unsatisfied and frustrated customers because there were a lot of things which were put in sale but it was not available to be shipped. And the final one would be retaining the market share. And to prevent the confiscation of the market share by the competitors and the new arrivals. So an example would be the Indian market leaders could feel a little turbulence with the advent of the Alibaba, which is a world's biggest and the most valuable e-commerce firm, which is entering into India by placing some stake in Paytm. To illustrate the gravity of each barriers, I have chosen one of it, the revenue leakage, and an example of abandoned shopping cart, and I have illustrated it here. A study which was done by CY found that 99% of the e-shoppers, they do not buy the products in the first visit, and an average of 73.9% of the shopping carts with products selected never make it to the checkout counter. Also, the Forrester estimated that the amount of money lost due to cart abandonment, it will reach almost $31 billion from $9 billion lost in 2011. In order to make a progress in this fierce clash, most of the e-commerce companies were searching for a solution that would help them to tackle the barriers which are mentioned above in an efficient way and also give a provision for them to grow. In the next slide, we'll just take a look at what that solution which these e-commerce companies have found. So the solution which was found by the e-commerce companies was the big data. Big data is nothing but the process of collecting and generating both structured and unstructured data from the multiple sources into one place and implementing system to analyze these data and get the maximum business value out of it, in the form of the hidden patterns, meaningful insights, means to understand the customer behavior, and ways to establish the competitive advantage on top of it competitors. So I've used a fishbone diagram to illustrate the definition of the big data. So in this case, in this particular scenario of e-commerce providers, the big data projects, the structured data, some examples of structured data are the customer profile, the customer preferences, the product details, the product categories. So all these things are structured data. The unstructured data would be the user clicks and the behavior and the media such as video, audio and pics which are being uploaded in these websites, and tweets, the Facebook posts. These are all some of the examples of the unstructured data in this particular example. And the multiple sources would be data can be collected from server log files, from email logs, customer relationship management system, inventory management system, and so on. So this is, in short, it is nothing but the primary purpose of these big data analytic projects is nothing but to collect and analyze its own data and using it for our own benefit. Next off, we'll look at some of the advantages that big data analytics brings to the e-commerce providers. The first advantage is that it helps the implementers with an informed decision making. This means no more mere hunches and the non-factual guesses based on the intuitions or the incomplete information. This way, it helps to avoid operational expenses, the expensive trials, and mistakes. Let us look at an example where big data analytics helped an e-retailer to make informed decisions. An e-retailer found using advanced analytics that their target customers were active in emails and phone calls and not in social media. This helped them to avoid spending more in ineffective marketing channels. The second advantage is personalized service. With the advent of these mobile and social media, customers interact from various devices, and hence it is necessary to tap all these marketing touchpoints and to study the buying pattern, the browsing trend, interest, and preferences. As a result, the personalized custom user profiles are created and the customer segmentations are happening, which in turn attributes to the launch of personalized offers, contents, and promotions. For example, Bikeberry.com studied the user behavior and launched 5 personalized offers which helped them to increase sales by 133% and user engagement by 200%. In short, it empowers the businesses to have clear understanding of whether 10% discount works or $10 discount works for a particular customer. So next is the third advantage, that is dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing. So after analyzing competitor prices, the past and future sale prices, the regional preferences, statistical price data, demand for the product, the contractual discounts, currency discrepancies, taxes, pricing terms, and so on, the indigenous algorithms are used to adjust the price to increase profit and reduce the sale time. For example, an e-retailer found through analytics that 44% of the customers who abandoned their shopping carts are due to shipping and handling cost. So this helped him to reduce and restructure his pricing and to increase the sale. Seasonality is also taken into consideration for dynamic pricing. For example, the room heaters are costly in December than in May. The fourth reason for e-retailers to implement the big data analytic solutions are that it helps in managing and optimizing the supply chain. Under this, the two main benefits of big data analytics to the e-commerce supply chain is that it introduces transparency and proactivity. That is, it gives a complete visibility into the supply chain and carefully monitors the supply chain and helps to examine the possibility of any mishaps that might happen before happening. Hence helping the companies to be prepared with preventive measures or recovery plans ready proactively. For example, if a warehouse maintenance work turns up in less than 24 hours of notice, then a service outage of that particular warehouse is prone to happen in a very short notice. Then the implemented analytics tool informs the firm in real time to alter other processes in the supply chain accordingly, like order acceptance or logistics and order delivery. Hence the e-retailers can handle these emergency situations in an efficient way. The fifth and final advantage is the predictive analytics. The customer behavior or the buying patterns are studied and the future predictive models are designed. Then the products are cataloged based on the study result. This in turn helps to upsell and cross-sell products. I'll give an example to illustrate the predictive analytics. For example, Tesco, which is a very famous retailer in UK, it found that the sale of beer and diaper was high in Friday nights. This means that the people who do babysitting, they drink a lot of beer on Friday nights. This helped them to come up to a conclusion that some predictive models can be done. So I'll tell you how it is. So they tackled this particular situation by placing the beer and diaper together. So this helps the customers who come and enter inside, take the beer, take the diaper and leave. So the customers will be more happy to see that kind of an arrangement. Or what they did was to keep that apart, beer in one corner and diaper in one corner, and place the chips and baby powders in between. So people who come take the beer, they take chips as side dish, and then they take the diaper, they see the powders, okay, today the powder is over, they need to take it. So this helps a lot to cross-sell and to upsell their products. So these are some of the advantages which for sure it will motivate the e-retailers to implement the big data analytic projects.